My name is Erica Howard, and I work for the Ion Center for Violence Prevention. I am a public education specialist, and I focus on the rural communities. So right now I am working in Gallatin and Carroll counties.
I'm Stacy. I work at the Ion Center for Violence Prevention, and I'm Director of Public Education and Community Engagement. So I get to support Erica in the violence prevention efforts here in Warsaw and Carrollton.
So I guess just today, just kind of tell me what you all are doing. How's the summer treating you, or how's it going to treat you?
So we're with the Ion Center for Violence Prevention, and so part of our mission is we want to work to measurably reduce the number of people who are impacted by violence. So we work closely with our state coalition, which is the Kentucky Association of Sexual Assault Programs, KSAP.
Okay.
And so we work together with our coalition and all the other rape crisis centers in the state of Kentucky of how do we make Kentucky safe as a state. And we do this through implementing our evidence-based programs like Green Dot in our high schools, our communities. We do It's My Space in middle schools. And so this Photovoice and the hotspot mapping, it's part of an initiative through Ion Center and KSAP, where they say you're doing Green Dot, and that's really great at this individual and relationship level, but we want to impact it that much further, and how do we impact the community to make it be a safe place? So we do our Green Dot, which is all violence prevention, and how do we build those relationships and empower the people in the community to make violence prevention like a thing. The Photovoice and hotspot mapping is how do we make the community, how do we change the landscape of the community to make violence prevention the default? And the way we get that is through this hotspot mapping, right. Photovoice.
Photovoice runs until the beginning of July. And then I believe it's the week of the 15th through the 19th, we'll have a showcase here at the library with results. So Photovoice basically, what it does is gives a voice to everybody in the community. So people that maybe aren't able to make it to meetings to speak or have the capacity to get out and talk to the right people. So Photovoice, it allows you to post your opinions and post things that you feel about Warsaw in an anonymous way. We decided to make it anonymous. In larger cities, when we've done it, it's not anonymous and people come and stand next to their result, like their survey results, but we thought Warsaw is such a small, tight-knit community. We really want to make sure it's accessible for everyone and maybe somebody who's not comfortable sharing who they are. So we made it anonymous. So basically, what it is you'll take this survey. There's a few identifying questions. Do you live or work in Warsaw? Or if not, where are you from? And then it goes into these prompts. There's 6 different prompt questions, and they range from what makes you feel most proud to live, work, or play in Warsaw to is there a place you'd feel most unsafe alone in Warsaw? So again, that's all anonymous if you want it to be. And then we ask you to upload a picture of the area. So if you feel unsafe at night at this certain park, we ask you to send a photo of that. And you can take them with your camera, with your phone. If somebody needs like a disposable camera, we can provide that as well if they don't have the capacity to use like a personal cell phone or something. And then what we do is we collect that data and we compile it and we see what the trends are. And so say if it's this part of the park is dark at night, or this part of this street is dark and I don't feel safe walking through it, then we meet with city officials and local city government to see if we can use that data to make changes to Warsaw to make it a little safer based on the input of the people in the community.
I think the program is really cool. Every time you guys talk to me about your programs, I'm like, that's great.
Yeah,
and
thank you.
Well, and I love that kind of data too. I mean, it impacts the community.
Right.
And then also too, like if I guess maybe granular, let's say there's another community in Gallatin County where maybe like people feel really unsafe. It's like, oh, what do we need to do? Now we can address it. And I'm kind of wondering, sometimes maybe the fixes are really simple. I mean,
right.
Maybe it's 1 or 2 extra police patrols and then also too, I feel like it builds on the perception where people start thinking something's unsafe and then everyone thinks it's unsafe and you're like, actually guys, right. It's not unsafe,
But it's bringing that awareness, right?
Or what is unsafe about it? What don't you like? And it could be something as simple as, well, I don't know who those people are. Everywhere I go, I know people. And this is not an area where, and then what can you do from there? So
exactly.
And so it sounds like you all are just kind of in the early process of this then.
We've actually done it a lot in our high schools.
Okay.
And it's been a great success.
So like spots on campus where people feel unsafe?
Or where they feel proud of.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's true. It doesn't all need to be negative, right? There
yes,
could be.
It correct.
Yeah.
Where they feel unsafe definitely helps for the data and help driving change. But we want to know what you're proud of, because if we know like what's working, then we want to recreate what's working. Right,
like community spaces. This is, we really like the library because the chairs, and we're able to kind of come together and stuff like that.
Oh, that's such a great example. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, that makes sense.
In the high schools, there was one teacher who had a bunch of flags in their room, which made the students feel included and safe.
Okay.
And so having like pictures of that, like there's a physical representation of this is where I feel safe because of this. One thing I'd like to mention too about this data is it helps drive that positive change, but it also helps us secure funding to make changes possible.
Right.
And so in the high schools in particular, we've had a lot of success with this, where it's, okay, we have all these students who are saying this particular area is a problem. That is great data then to use for a grant. And like, hey, we've got collected from the community, from the people who are experiencing the harm, saying this is a problematic area and here's what we need to do to address that harm. Can we have $2,000 for this? We had one high school where what they were finding is there are certain hallways where confrontations were happening. Lack of cameras, things like that, or going to the bathrooms where there are no cameras. So they were able to use that data that these bathrooms are problematic. You can't put cameras in there.
Right.
So we were actually able to, they suggested, could we look at digital hall passes? So when you are, can I go to the bathroom? The teachers can actually look to see whose hall passes are already out and who's like out of class at that time, and then can navigate appropriately.
Yeah. Well, and I would think too, also like issues of like vaping, and the bathrooms become the.
Yeah, didn't think of that, but with the digital, you can track who was in that bathroom at that time.
I mean, you get real evil and because and there's companies that do this, that they track your cell phones.
Yeah,
right.
So it's like, well, I know where you are, but
at all times.
But
I know what you're thinking.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like, and it's hard. I mean, it's because you want to provide safe, but you don't want take it too far. But then you're like, it's like every day at 2:45, this hallway, there's something going on, and this is. Yeah. And kids are avoiding it. I wonder too if the data gets so granular as by grade. Like, hey, freshmen don't feel comfortable here, and stuff like that.
Right.
But then it's also interesting to me too, and then this just going off on a tangent, but like how once you're a junior and senior, how little you're actually at the high school. You're doing other things that we've almost mimicked college. Yeah. And it's just how it's interesting to me too, because like now by the time you're senior, you're not checked out as that negative. You're already kind of mentally getting ready for that next step, which I'm sure that's very important. But then that it shortens that window of what it is to be in high school.
Yeah, it does. And I think that's what's so exciting about where we're trending through violence prevention as a whole. Is when I first started at the ION Center, 10, 12 years ago, we strictly did Green Dot in the high schools, and I was brought on to do it in the colleges. So doing that continuum almost. And so now we then had conversations where we're like, this is a little bit depressing, but like high school feels too late. Right? We need middle school programming. Middle school program, we do that hotspot mapping where we say, where do you feel safe? We have a literal map we have them fill in. What's green spaces you feel safe. Libraries are highlighted green a lot.
Good.
Red if you don't feel safe here. And then we also have them do yellow, where it's like sometimes it feels safe, sometimes it doesn't. And
that obviously that'd be very, I mean, I'd see a lot of value for us for that, because it's good to know, if people are walking here where they feel safe, or at night we don't have as many people. Is there a reason for it? Or and a lot of it's just the community. It's just the flow of it. I mean, everyone's a little bit different, and it's just kind of like that. But I think that's also too. I feel like the perceptions, perceptions of reality, and I think this came up a little bit when you're looking at police force, policing, and like how you are working with them, and then also where if someone feels safe somewhere or if unsafe, where like maybe I wouldn't think twice.
Yeah.
And I think that's pretty. Absolutely. I think that's important for even me to know. Like, oh well, people don't feel safe down the street. Like, huh? I wouldn't think that. And I think that's kind of useful too, because if you don't feel unsafe and you've never seen it, how would you know?
Absolutely.
And it's completely different. And I think that's probably really important. And I can see where like college, that's really important, where people are going out and they're being kids and they're enjoying themselves, but where there's areas where you're just like, this is a dangerous area.
Yeah. We actually see that a lot with individuals with disabilities too.
Okay. Yeah.
Where for accessibility purposes, where as someone who's able-bodied, I don't think about how do I get into buildings.
Or wouldn't think twice about a curb.
Or curb.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
Or steps. But like that accessibility.
You're just ignorant on it. Not
No.
It's just like, oh,
absolutely.
I'm willing to listen.
Yeah.
That's one of the cool things about Photovoice is that you're able to take those pictures from your perspective. So if somebody is, like you said, disabled or differently abled, and they see an area that we would walk past every day and not see, they're able to take a picture from their perspective, and you think, I have never even thought about it like that.
Yeah.
Well, this is great. Well, not that that isn't enough, but do you have anything else, I guess, that we could add in today?
With Photovoice,
yes,
it's free to take. It's online. I believe the library has shared the digital flyer for it, which includes a link and the QR code that you could scan. And if you don't have the capacity to scan that, there's also the link there you can type out. It is free to take. We encourage you to take it and answer as many prompts as you feel comfortable. But also at the end, when you finish the survey, there is an option to be entered into a drawing for some gift cards. So just a kind of a nice added bonus.
Wonderful. And so what is the process or the timeline for this information that you hope to kind of have done and to share and kind of go from there?
So it's going to run, Photovoice in Warsaw is going to run until July 1st.
Okay.
And then after July 1st, we'll close the survey and then take the results and compile them. And then July 15th, we will have our presentation here at the library, and that'll run until the 19th. So people can come in and see the pictures that other people have sent and their reasoning for where that image is. Like, this is where I feel most proud, or this is where I feel most unsafe, or this is my favorite place in Warsaw. And so those will be on display here in the library for that week of July. We'll also be sharing them with, like I said, city government and city officials, to have them come and look at them as well at the library, and then see what we can do working together to kind of make those areas that were deemed unsafe a little bit safer.